Today we're diving into the art of propagating one of the most fragrant winter shrubs, Daphne odora, or the winter Daphne. The best time to take cuttings is in midsummer to late summer, when the new wood has matured slightly but it's still flexible, and this is called the semi-ripe stage. Stem cuttings. For these, simply go down the stem until you start to get to where the new wood meets the old wood. Take your cutting just below a node, and nodes are where the leaves join the stem. That's our stem cutting. We'll take a few more. From a large cutting like this, which is almost like pruning back, we'll get a number of cuttings. Or you can take heel cuttings, which means that you're taking this cutting here with the heel off the stem. And for those, simple, just gently rip them off. So we'll start with 2 heel cuttings. You may need to rip and snip. So here we have our cutting material. We've got our pots, which have a propagating mix in, normal potting mix with about 30% perlite mix through, and secateurs. Let's take a look at the cutting material. This is our heel cutting, and you can see the heel on the plant there, foliage on the top. We don't need all of that, so we'll just take that bit off there. Snip off these leaves, and that one, and that one, and that one. You can see that there's a growing tip there. That cutting's now ready to plant. We're using a liquid rooting hormone with our Daphne cuttings, just to make sure that we get a better strike rate. Fairly simple to use. Dip the cutting in, and then just let it dry for a while before you're potting it up. We're taking these cuttings early in the morning, so there's lots of moisture in the cuttings, and we're potting them up straight away. So our first cutting is going in here in a single pot. We're making a hole in the middle, or using a stick or a dibbler if you like. The cuttings inserted right down, firmed in around. 1 heel cutting done. Here we have a larger heel cutting, but the process is the same. We're removing the foliage. We can snip all these leaves off, trim back the tops. Trimming back the tops means there's less foliage, so therefore less transpiration. So now we have our second heel cutting. Again, a liquid rooting hormone. Dip the cutting in. Set it up to dry for a little while. Deep hole in the center. The reason we make the hole is so that we're not pushing all of that rooting hormone liquid off the cutting when we insert it into the hole. This one's going quite deeply. So that's it. Our second heel cutting is done. Now we have this larger cutting. Well, it's actually a pruning. From this one, we can take some more heel cuttings by peeling them back, and then just snipping them off. So another heel cutting. We can do the same with this little fellow here. And we can, with this, we've got 2 options. We'll take this smaller cutting and that gives us another heel cutting. And then we're left with this larger cutting. Now what we're looking for here is a leaf node. For the length of the cutting we want, it's going to be this node here. So we're just going to snip it off below that leaf. Now again, with this tip cutting, we just need to remove all of this lower foliage. Then we'll take the tops and we'll just cut all those in half, and we have left a growth point in here. So this is a tip cutting. You can push that well down and settle it into the pot. If you were taking these cuttings in the morning and you wanted to pot them up later on, you would need to put them into a plastic bag with some kitchen paper that had been moistened so that it's nice and moist, and keep the cuttings moist until you're ready to plant them. We took these cuttings minutes before we're potting them up, so we don't need to do that. So now we'll move on to a larger pot like this, and we're going to put multiple cuttings in the one pot. And again, it's all about preparing the cuttings, and we've got 3 cuttings in the larger container. Once you've taken your cuttings, you need to find a way of keeping them moist. We use a plastic soft drink bottle, firm it down around the plant, and once you've done that, it's easy enough to mist spray through the top. With our larger cuttings, we'll give them a good mist spray first, but we need to build a structure over the top so that we can put a plastic bag over these plants to keep the moisture in. So we'll build a little structure, nothing fancy. And then we're going to place just an old reusable plastic bag over the top. Sticks are supporting it. It's going to fit reasonably neatly over this pot. So just like that. It's easier to water these because you can spray down through the centre, and the advantage of the single pots is that you can leave the cuttings in there for longer without disturbing them. They'll get better root growth before you need to pot them up. When you're putting multiple cuttings in the one pot, you'll need to repot them a little bit earlier on to avoid too much root disturbance. We'll be mist spraying these every day. We'll be keeping them in the shade. We'll be back to show you the results. So here are our cuttings, and obviously we've left them a while because it's autumn. You can see though that there's good green growth, nice new bud, and again in the large pot where we had the plastic bag over the top, we can take these supports out now, and they're fairly firm in there, so we're happy that they're developing a root system. But what we might do is take one of these out and show you the root system. We suggest that you don't do this at home. Leave them for another 6 months before you even think about potting them up. We'll use a hori to go down underneath there and there, keeping a fair way back from the stem. We'll lift it out. Let's place that down there. If we look carefully at this, we can see that this cutting is developing quite a good root system. It is a Daphne, so it's slow, but it's going to grow. With this one here, we'll pot it up into its own container. You can propagate multiple Daphnes at the one time. Give them away to your friends or plant them out into your garden. Subscribe to the YouTube channel for regular updates on propagating a whole range of flowering plants, as well as vegetables, succulents, trees, bulbs, you name it. And as always, good luck with your gardening.